Episode 2 coming your way here. Beginner guide, tutorial guide, whatever you want to call it. This is here for you, PGA Tour 2K25, and it's going to be actually very important for your first Archetype build when the game actually launches. Because if you have not seen the video, I highly recommend go checking it out. I talk about the respecking, the rebirth. You're going to want to stick with this first build for quite a while. Otherwise, you're going to waste a bunch of VC that you're going to have to use down the road, and it's not something you're really going to want to do. So we shall dive right on in. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you all. If you have not seen my video yesterday, that was all about swinging straighter, setting yourself up for success, my controller settings. That was episode 1. Today is going to cover the archetypes. It's going to cover the attribute points, also known as AP, and pretty much how you're going to build yourself, the thresholds, the caps. All of that information is going to be here in this video. Tomorrow, I'll do a very short video on the skills, which skills I'm going to be targeting, which skills I like a little bit better. I played with a lot of the skills in the actual early access, so I will do that video differently, but I just don't want to do a video for like 30-40 minutes. So let's dive on in. And I think before I get into the archetypes and talking about the differences, and I'm going to be very slow here, and if I'm talking too slow, I'm trying to do this because you got to realize the majority of people who are playing this game have never, either they're new to the golf game, they're new to this builder system, and they're not going to pick it up as quickly. So I'm trying to be slow and as direct as I can about everything to be less confusing. So I think a great place to start is actually teaching you what each of these categories are this year, because we do have some new categories in the game. So each of these attributes here, they have a directly correlating attribute to it. So power is directly tied to contact, swing path, correction, whatever one is parallel, they're directly tied to them. So let's just go over the definitions of what all of these are. So when we go through the archetypes, you fully understand what they are. Power, pretty simple. How far you can hit the ball, how high you can hit the ball, how much spin your ball has. Contact determines the hook slice forgiveness, represented by the scale of the downswing target zone at the top of the swing meter. So I put this graphic here up in the top. If you look at the little top white bar, so the higher you get this category, the bigger that white zone is going to be, which means like how much your ball will hook or slice if you don't hit that little white target there for you. So that is going to be what contact is. Now when it comes to swing path, that is going to be your push, your pull forgiveness. So represented by the scale of the backswing at the bottom. So same graphic. Now we're looking at the little bottom, little white ticker. This is going to increase that size and decrease that size depending on how high you have this category. What this does is push and pull, or pull and push. If you miss it a little bit to the left, you're going to pull the shot right out of the gate, meaning it's going to start off more to the left if you're a right-handed golfer. If you push it, it's going to start off more to the right if you're a right-handed golfer. So let's talk about correction. This is going to be and if you haven't seen this, I did a video where I talked about how contact, correction, swing path are going to be 3 of the most important ones. So contact is going to be your natural draw and fade. You have to select a draw or a fade type this year. You can't just be a straight ball hitter. So the correction is going to be how much your axis swing. So if you have seen it now, the meters are no longer just straight vertically up and down. They are slightly tilted. So the higher the correction, the closer the meter will be to straight up and down. The lower this is going to be, the more likely the axis is going to be tilted and skewed a little bit for you. And it's going to make it harder to hit straight up and down. Now, when it comes to shaping, that is pretty simple. Like how much you want to draw it, how much you want to fade it, and how much that's going to impact and shrink your meters. So the higher the shape, the more likely you can adjust those things. When it comes to recovery, this is all about getting stuck in bad lies, percentage drops, right? So how much your percentage, if you're stuck in the high rough, instead of being able to hit it 100%, it's only going to go 70% because you're in the high rough, bunkers, etc. like that. It reduces that percentage risk when it comes to poor lies. Rhythm is going to determine your forgiveness. So this is all about transitioning from the top of the backswing down to the bottom of the backswing. If you have a fast rhythm, it's going to increase how far you hit it. So if you want to hit it 100 yards, you swing fast, it's going to hit it 103 yards, 104 yards. If you swing slow, it's going to be 90 yards. It's going to be 95 yards. So that's going to be the difference there when it comes to that. Transition is the intended, determines the backswing to downswing forgiveness at the intended swing power. So that is also going to be in that aspect similar to the rhythm of the downswing to the backswing and how much forgiveness that you actually have for it being a perfect swing. You'll see that with the big circles and the little circles between the rhythm and the transition. I haven't seen anything too much that says like these two need to be focused on very much. Putt weight determines the backswing to downswing forgiveness intended for swing power percentage. So when you're putting, will it go the right distance? Will it roll short? Will it roll long? That's pretty much what that's going to be all about. Putt contact is new this year. That is going to determine your putter club face angle forgiveness represented by the swing and the downswing. So whether or not your ball is pretty much going to start online will be directly affected by that because your club face will be open or closed. So that will directly affect that as well. Putt rhythm plays directly into putt weight. Also talks about increasing distance similar to the rhythm of if you swing it fast, you're going to hit the putt further. If you swing it slow, you're going to hit the putt shorter. Putt path, push-pull is very close to your swing path, but just for putting. So if you miss it a little bit to the left, you're going to pull the putt. If you miss it a little bit to the right, you're going to push the putt at the bottom meter of. So that is pretty much the full attribute breakdown of what they are, who they are, and what they're all about. Now let's talk about the archetypes and the differences of the actual archetypes in this game so you can understand which ones are, helping in what category. And I'll do a video, probably 2 videos from now, of which archetype I'll be selecting, which archetype I've targeted, and why I targeted it as well. So greenskeeper, you can see everything on the right side of the screen as well. It talks about its strengths, and it also talks about the increased skill that it has, which we'll cover in tomorrow's video. So greenskeeper here is increased putts. So look at putt path, putt contact, putt rhythm, putt weight. All of those are 60 and up, and that is pretty much your primary focus at the risk of everything else. Powerhouse does power. Pretty simple. Power, transition, those are your big benefits. Rhythm, also a benefit there. Sacrifice other things. Technician is all about swing path, contact, correctness. Those are some of the big ones. Transition is also pretty good. It's definitely a good option there for you, for especially people who are beginning starters of this game. Highly recommend a technician as a starting route if you struggle a little bit with straighter meters. Sculptor is a good balance of everything, and it's probably something that I am targeting, is the Sculptor build. You get power, you get correction, and you get contact. And you have a little bit of a sacrifice with swing path, but you can kind of get by with that. You do have a high shaping category, but yeah, so that's pretty much that one. And then magician is pretty high in contact, pretty high in transition, pretty high in rhythm, but also it's mostly about recovery, reducing the lie penalties that you have from bad lies. So that's the archetypes. I covered what the attributes mean. I covered the archetypes and exactly what they exactly do. Now you need to know something when it comes to choosing your archetype, right? So there's caps. I talked about the difference of the caps for each archetype. So let's quickly cover the attribute system here. The attribute system this year is going to be different. It's going to need some working, it's going to need some building, and it's going to need some time, but I want to give you the basic understanding of how these points are applied and how you can get them. So I'm going to show you some clips from the early access play here, but you need to understand that there's some caps, there's some things and how it goes. In order to get your player up to an 85, it costs 51 available AP, also known as attribute points. You'll see that down in the bottom. If you're curious about what owned AP is, just go check out my respec video and I fully break down what owned AP is. So that's just something that you respec, you get, you reapply free of charge. Quick, easy, to the point. But when it comes to your available AP, you're going to get your player to an 85 and then you're slowly going to build up there. In order to get your player to an 85, you're going to need 51 AP points, which in order to get each one up costs about 2.5 per, per overall. So basic math, to get up to a 99, it's going to run you, about 86 AP, unless, it might go up higher than that down the road. But at 2.5 points per overall, that gets you roughly about 86 available points that you're going to have to earn. You're going to have to earn to get yourself up a little bit higher. So we'll see. We'll see also if there's some potentials to purchase these AP as well down the road when the full game comes out and we get more details regarding that. But it's something to consider. So you go there, you apply your AP points, you confirm your purchase, and then you get those points. So the one big thing that I do want to say you have to really pay attention to when it comes to selecting your archetype, because if you are going to do what I recommend is staying with one archetype all the way until you get to a level 90, you need to pay attention to the numbers that are at the default values. The default values can only be, so if you only have 51 points to get you to an 85, the max cap here, you can see all these bars are not the same. This 70 can get up higher, but this 42 is not as big as the 70, right? So you can see clear differences between some of these bars, which means you can only, the dark gray section of this bars is what you can add, which is the max per category per item is 25. So if 42 is my default value, the max that I can get to before that gray bar gets filled up is a 67. And if I apply all of that to power, all 25 or 24, whatever I do to power, that is going to reduce this gray bar all the way down as well. So you can see there the red. It reduces the red, which means if I apply all 25 to power, it's going to mean that I cannot add any more to contact, which means 75 is going to be the max contact that I'll have on this build. So you just have to consider that. Now I will say there are fittings. There are fittings that you can apply to your clubs that will increase these caps. So if your power is maxed at 67 and you can't go over that because you applied all your AP to it, you can put a fitting, power fittings on your player, on your club, and those can get your 67 power well above 67, depending on if you throw all power fittings on. So you do need to consider that, and it's going to take time to figure out whether or not that is going to be like a meta where you focus on all these other categories and then you just go power fittings to get it up to as high as it can go. There's going to be some tweaks. There's going to probably be another video in the future in which I'm going to have to revamp a lot of this information, but I want to give you guys the actual basics of understanding of how this goes. 51 available points to get you to an 85. It costs about 2.5 AP to get you up 1 overall, and whatever you add to this category reduces the cap, the max it can get in this category. When it comes to going beyond 85 and what available points that we're going to be getting and how those are going to work, we're obviously still going to have to pay attention to that when we get a little bit closer to it, as well as whether or not we can buy AP and figure it all out. I have information on the Clubhouse Pass, but I'm not allowed to disclose it, so we will wait until the full game drops for that. But stay tuned. There's going to be more iterations of this video. There's going to be more tutorials when it comes to this builder and building the perfect player. So just be patient with it, but this is just the basic understanding of this game, of this builder, what the archetypes are, what all the attributes mean, and that is pretty much it. Tomorrow we are going to go over the skills, so look out for that video dropping early in the morning. We'll cover all the skills, what they mean, how they work, and which ones I'm going to be targeting down the road. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in another.